Kim Jong-hong is a courageous young firefighter who jumps from a burning building to save a small girl. Kim soon recovers after taking the brunt of the collision and goes to check on the girl, who has been reunited with her parents. He inquires about her name, but she does not respond. Instead, she walks away with her family, not even recognizing him. Kim then notices a peculiar change in the environment. Everything appears to be the same, but everything appears to be so different, so far away. Then he hears his name called and turns around to find a man and a lady, both formally dressed and pleasantly smiling. He spots a bunch of his fellow firefighters encircling a body out of the corner of his eye. This is his body. The man and woman approach him and introduce themselves as Haiwen and Diak Chun, two of the three guardians who would be escorting him through the 7 challenges of the afterlife. They inform him that he died on April 28, 2017, as planned. Kim is forcibly dragged through a doorway to the underworld as he begs them to let him see his mother one final time. Kim meets the third guardian, Kong Rim, outside the gates of the 7 trials. Kong Rim is a well-known guardian, having successfully escorted 47 souls through the 7 challenges over the course of 1,000 years. When they get at the gates, Diak Chun hands Kim his ticket to the trial of the 7 hells, and she is pleasantly delighted to learn that he is a paragon, a person who lived a good life and died honorably. She explains that he is the first paragon in 422 years, and that a paragon has the best chance of completing all 7 trials within the 49-day time restriction, and that if he does, he can be reborn. They then pass through the gates. The Inferno of Murder is their first stop. If Kim unjustly killed someone or did something that indirectly contributed to someone's death, he will be tried, found guilty, and imprisoned here for the next half-century. Kim stands before King Byeonzong as his allegations are read out by 2 insulting underworld prosecutors. They discuss a colleague he left behind in a burning building, injured and imprisoned, and how he had enough time to return and save him, but instead he left him there, and the building eventually fell and killed him. The prosecutors then present the charge of manslaughter, which carries a penalty of 50 years in the Inferno of Murder. Kong Rim then appears in front of the court as Kim's underworld attorney. He opens his defense by reenacting the episode for the benefit of the court. When Kim went to assist his companion, they were stopped by the screams of other survivors who had been injured and were trapped inside the building as well. The colleague instructed Kim to assist the others and return for him. Kim returned for his friend after getting everyone else out of the building safely, but it was too late. The fire had devoured the structure, and it had all collapsed, killing his friend. Kong Rim informs the judge that after leaving his friend to assist the survivors, Kim saved the lives of 8 people, 8 lives in exchange for 1. Punishment would be unjust for such a wonderful act. King Byeongsong accepts and exonerates Kim before honoring him as a hero. The guardians then lead Kim to the Hell of Indolence, which appears to be a magnificent heavenly environment, as all the damned souls reside just beyond the waterfall. Those who dare to take sanctuary on the sole visible strip of land are tortured by a giant spinning crusher, while those who attempt to flee into the clean water are met with the razor-sharp bite of savage piranhas. Queen Chaogong sits just before the waterfall. Kim had to show her all of his hard work throughout his life to prove he wasn't lazy and egotistical. The guardians then go over all of the good altruistic work Kim had done during his tenure as a firefighter with the Queen. The Queen is quite impressed with everything Kim has done to help people. Kim merely claims he did it all for money when she wonders what inspired such tremendous exploits. Angered by this statement, the Queen claims that he worshipped the wrong god because money was his god. She then commands the prosecutors to lower Kim past the waterfall. Kong Rim and Haewon rush in to assist Kim as he approaches the precipice. Kong Rim then begs the Queen to reconsider Kim's life, but this time he presents a different perspective. Here, he demonstrates to Queen Chaogong that Kim's life was far more difficult than his work as a firefighter. Apart from his regular day job, Kim worked several jobs at night and even looked for work on weekends, never taking a day off. Kim had done all of this to help his terminally ill mother and younger brother, who was studying to be a Supreme Court judge. Kong Rim concludes his defense by stating that his family would not be living today if Kim had not worked for them. The Queen finally arrives to her ultimate decision. She states that while Kim worked for money, he did it for a selfless purpose. Therefore, she lets him go. The gang is ambushed by fearsome 4-legged monsters of the underworld's Blade Forest on their route to the next trial. When they barely escape the jungle, Haewon informs Kim that the monster's attack implies that a member of his immediate family has died and become a vengeful spirit, and they are now roaming the earth, producing anomalies along his path on the trial. Kim is worried that his mother may have died. Kong Rim advises them that the only way to end this is to find the family member's body and burn it, which will kill the ghost. So he travels to the realm of the living in search of the deceased. Kim is blindfolded by the other two guardians because the monsters can see what he can, and they lead him to the next trial, the Hell of Deception. Kim will be assessed here by Admiral Yi Sun-sin for any lies he told and the impact they caused. The prosecutors submit the forgery charge, 98 forged letters written by Kim to the children of his slain colleagues. One specific scenario is brought up, the deceased co-worker whom Kim failed to save. John, his young daughter, had received letters from Kim, who claimed to be her father. He attempted to encourage and guide her in the letters. Kim claims that she was only a little girl and that he wanted to console her, but the prosecutors question whether he ever considered the misery she would feel after she found the letters were fraudulent. Kim is at a loss for words, which enrages the admiral and forces him to have his tongue amputated. Day Action then defends Kim by producing even more forged letters. These were sent to his mother. Kim informs his mother about his great family, his wife and son, and his amazing life in these letters. All of this was a lie because he was never married and had no children. Day Action claims that if Kim had not sent these letters to his mother while she was hospitalized, she would not have found the strength to fight and heal as well as she did. The prosecutors inquire once more about his mother's sadness if she discovers the letters were all falsehoods, but Dae-chan claims that if he had not written those letters in the first place, those people would not have matured as much and gone on. The admiral is then shown how delighted Kim's mother was when she read the letters, and how the letters motivated John, a young girl, to write back to her father and thank him for all of his encouraging comments. Before proceeding, the admiral clears Kim of all charges and permits him to leave. Kong Rim goes Kim's residence on Earth to discover his mother, a mute woman, and informs her that he has come to pay his respects to Kim. Kong Rim faces the spirit of Kim Soo-hong, Kim's brother who had been hiding within the burning candle smoke, after she closes the door to give him some solitude. He inquires as to where he died, but the ghost flees, resulting in an epic chase. Kong Rim meets Kim and the guardians in the Hell of the Deceased after failing to capture the spirit and informs Kim that both his mother and brother are okay. As Kim rejoices, Kong Rim tells the other two guardians the truth about Kim's brother and argues that it's important that Kim doesn't know for the sake of the trials. While the group travels to the next trial, Kong Rim resumes his endeavor to find and destroy the spirit. Along the way, Kim tells Dae-chan about a rice cooker he was going to give his mother before he died as a thank you for all the delicious burned rice she used to make him and his brother when they were youngsters. He had also put one last letter within the stove. He had written the truth in this letter about how he had lied in earlier letters only to make her happy and proud, and how much he had missed her. The group then journeys to the Hell of Injustice, where souls are punished for hundreds of years for refusing to help people in need in the living world. Because Kim is a paragon, he receives a free pass through hell without having to face a trial. Kong Rim travels to Earth to visit Kim's brother Soo-hong, who is stationed at a military installation. He learns that Soo-hong has been labeled a deserter and that the military is looking for him, but it's strange that he would desert when he was only a few days away from being freed. Under the guise of a commander investigating Soo-hong's desertion, he questions Lieutenant Park, who had assigned Soo-hong to duty, and it's clear that he's hiding something. He then meets Sergeant Dong Young, who was alone on duty with Soo-hong the night Dong vanished, and goes back in time to discover that Soo-hong was Dong's only companion in the military. While everyone else mocked him for his sluggish, quiet, and shy demeanor, Soo-hong would encourage Dong Young by singing with him a song he penned about being in the military to help him get through the difficult times. Kong Rim then returns to the night Soo-hong went missing. Dong Young was uneasy and terrified that night, so he fiddled with the safety on his rifle. He was worried that Soo-hong would soon be off duty and unable to prevent his bullies. Soo-hong assures him that he would come check on him even after his discharge, and that Lieutenant Park will do the same. Soo-hong advises Dong Young to hold his weapon properly just after they embrace, and in doing so, he shoots one cartridge into Soo-hong's abdomen. Soo-hong instructs Dong Young to only radio Lieutenant Park and him. When Lieutenant Park arrives, he decides not to report it and instead convinces Dong Young to assist him in hiding the body, saying him it's what Soo-hong would have wanted. Kong Rim notices that Soo-hong was not slain that night. Rather, the two of them killed him by burying him alive in order to cover up the occurrence. After discovering the body, Kong Rim chooses not to kill it but rather to preserve Su-hong's soul by assisting him in shedding his vengeance in the underworld. Kim is reminded of when his little brother begged to ride the cable car. Daeopgan tells him that she envies him because the Guardians, who were formerly mortals on Earth, have had their memories erased. After an altercation with her, Haiwan reveals to Kim that his brother is no longer alive and that he is the vengeful ghost. Kong Rim pursues a drunken Dong Yen into a club, where he encounters the spirit who is attempting to kill him. Another dramatic chase occurs, with Kong Rim finally capturing Su-hong's soul. He begs Su-hong to give up and come with him to help his brother through the trial, but Su-hong hasn't seen his brother in 15 years since he ran away from the family, and he despises him. Su-hong then flees. Dong Young then arrives at Kim's mother's house, puts something inside, and flees. Su-hong and Kim's mother both see the map, which leads to Su-hong's body. Dong Young then tries to do the unfathomable to himself while Kong Rim looks on. Su-hong then appears behind Kong Rim and begs him to save Dong Young's life, promising to do whatever he asks in return. Kong Rim reluctantly agrees, but warns that intervening in the world of the living will have ramifications for Kim's trial. Su-hong first sings the song he wrote using Kong Rim's voice to establish it's him because Dong Young can only see Kong Rim. Then he tells him that he has forgiven him and that he should move on with his life. Kim and the two guardians pass through the fifth trial, the Hell of Betrayal, where souls are punished for selfish betrayals by being trapped within a mirror and annihilated. The Queen's song He, as a paragon of morality, lets Kim pass without a trial. To reach the next challenge, the group must descend a vacuum sinkhole into the hell of violence. Kong Rim's tampering in the living world takes effect here, and the group, or so they believed, falls hundreds of miles to their doom. When Kong Rim is finished, Kim and the other two guardians come to a standstill in front of King Jin Wong in the Hell of Bloodshed. Kim is accused of abusing his younger brother, who was malnourished, for no apparent reason. He ran away from home after this episode, never apologizing for what he had done, and his brother never forgave him. The guardians try to defend themselves, but the king declares there is no defense. There is a definite victim, and Kim was never pardoned. While the two guardians strive to enlist Kong Rim's assistance, he rushes to his decision. Kong Rim instructs Diak Chun to request a combined trial, but Haiwan is adamantly opposed. Diak Chun then seeks and is given a combined time trial. A combined trial means that the charges will be brought in the following court along with the charges from the previous court. If the defendant is found guilty of all charges in the next court, he will face extra punishments, and his guardians will be stripped of their duty and all of the advantages that come with being a guardian. The gang then proceeds to the Hell of Filial Impiety, where souls are evaluated based on how well they respected their parents. Kim admits to the two guardians that he wasn't a good son before they arrive at court. His mother was dying of a grave illness, and they had no one else to turn to. His brother and he were starving every day, and it was just a matter of time before they all died. So, when he ran away from home 15 years ago, he attempted to end their agony. He attempted to murder his mother while she was sleeping, but his brother had awoken and intervened. Out of guilt, he beat him up and fled. He was going to smash all of the sleeping tablets and put them in the food if he went through with it. His brother and he were both destined to die the next day. He hadn't seen his mother or brother since then and had just written her letter. Haiwan is enraged after Kong Rim assisted Su-hong in restoring his soul. Su-hong spots his mother beneath the foundation and confronts them about her son. Because she is deaf, she puts a message over her chest begging with them to assist her in finding her son. Lieutenant Park attempts to stop her and pulls her away, infuriating Su-hong. Lieutenant Park is enraged when she shows him the map, and he shoves her to the ground after seizing it from her. She is then transferred on a stretcher into an ambulance. When Su-hong sees this, he unleashes his furious soul once more, conjuring a massive storm in pursuit of Lieutenant Park. The Nether Realm is once again affected, as sand monsters attack Kim and the two guardians. Kong Rim seeks the assistance of Haiwan after failing to release Lieutenant Park from Su-hong, resulting in a fierce conflict between the two parties. Kim is gradually being consumed by the ground. Su-hong observes his brother getting devoured by the sand after Kong Rim and Haiwan rescue Park and chooses to abandon his quest for vengeance and repair his soul. As soon as he does so, the last trial court appears before Kim. The charge is read aloud by King Yamra, the monarch of the underworld. He claims that Kim attempted to murder his mother 15 years ago and that he will be jailed as a result. Diak Chun begs the king not to punish him because Kim's mother was asleep during the occurrence and oblivious of it, so how can he be punished for a sin against his mother that he didn't even commit and she isn't even aware of? King Yamra corrects her by revealing, in the mirror of karma, that Kim's mother was indeed aware the entire time. When Kim was going to kill her, she feigned to be asleep. She grieved because it wounded her heart, but she knew it would provide a better life for her children, so she was willing to sacrifice herself for their sake. Kim falls to his knees and bursts into sobs at learning that his mother has known all along, pleading with Yamra to punish him as he deserves. The prosecutors then read the charges aloud. An earthquake stops them, and we witness Soo Hong enter his mother's dream when she is asleep in the ambulance in the Mirror of Karma. He informs his mother that in the hereafter, he has become a Supreme Court justice. He then tells his mother of Kim's effort to end their family. He tells her that even though Kim attempted to kill them, he was unable to carry it out and fled, but he did not abandon them. Instead, he avoided them out of shame and slaved away his entire life to support them. They would have died anyhow if he hadn't done so. Soo Hong then forgives his brother, hugs his mother, and hears her speak for the first time. She yells his name and attempts to console him. She tells him that everything was her fault and that if she had been a better mother, none of this would have occurred. When King Yammer hears this, he decides there are no charges. A transgression pardoned in the living world cannot be punished in the underworld. As a result, he orders that Kim be reincarnated immediately upon his entry through the pearly gates. Kim expresses his gratitude to Dyakan before he departs. Kong Rim does one more act before departing the living world. He brings the rice cooker to Kim's mother at the hospital. She opens it at home and discovers his letter. She smiles as she reads it.